5 News at noon starts now.
Right now at noon, local police are sharing some safety tips this holiday season, how to protect your packages from thieves ahead. Plus, we're learning more about plans to rebuild in downtown Fort Smith after a historic building caught fire last year. Thank you for joining us for your 5 News at noon. I'm Morgan Wrigley here with Joshua Weisel. Feeling pretty seasonable out there, but certainly not as cold as we started out this week.
Yeah, and the good news is we get kind of another day with those warmer temperatures, but later tonight things will start to change, and then we're dealing with more potential for some winter precipitation again late tonight into tomorrow. So we're just kind of keeping that roller coaster going. It will be warm again. There's some good news, but we just have to get through the next 48 hours or so. Here's a look at what we've got across the area. Speaking of the number 48 degrees in Fayetteville right now. A little bit of a feels like temperature of 45 due to that southwest wind at the moment. Not too terrible out there. Definitely warmer than it has been. And then it's not always that, Northwest Arkansas is a little bit warmer at this hour than the River Valley. But right now, 46 in Fort Smith, it feels like 41. So it's a cooler, but I got to say, not terrible day out there so far. We've got these nice seasonable temperatures for this time of year. We got the sunshine, and it's pretty good out there. There is a little bit of a feels like temperature out there, only off by a couple degrees, but we're not dealing with the 20s, so we'll take this as a win. Here's a look at what we've got. So we head into this evening. Notice the clouds start to roll back in. Well, we have another strong cold front on the way, and as it brings its cooler temperatures with it, as it makes its way into the area, that's what we're going to be talking about. Not only some cooler temperatures, but late tonight to tomorrow, maybe some winter impacts, and we're going to be talking about maybe some freezing fog, some freezing drizzle, some winter precipitation. We're going to have kind of a lot to talk about in the main forecast segment, so you won't want to miss out on that. More details, timing, and all of that coming up.
Thank you, Joshua. The owner of a local business on Dixon Street is set to appear in court today over a digital flag display the city says violates Fayetteville's sign ordinance. The case stems from a 2024 complaint that Collier Drug's electronic signs violated city code. Well, the store later switched to the display to a waving American flag, but Fayetteville bans electronic graphics that are visible from public areas to prevent distracted driving. The city says the display still didn't comply, sending the issue to court. The owner is set to appear in Fayetteville District Court at 2 this afternoon. The suspect in a deadly Fayetteville stabbing has been sentenced to 50 years in prison. Shauna Lynn Lang pleaded guilty to killing Richard Dill at an apartment in May 2023. Officials say Lang fled the area after the stabbing and was found weeks later in Houston, Texas. On Tuesday, Lang pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and first-degree battery. Came days before her trial was set to begin on December 9th. Officials are investigating the Conway Human Development Center after a report revealed residents were living with malnutrition. A 43-page report from Disability Rights Arkansas says the facility failed to manage nutrition and clinical care, calling the problems systemic failures. The report cites delayed or missing documentation and staffing shortages. One example shows a resident was documented as having eaten 2 meals, but video showed he did not eat at all. Disability Rights Arkansas says there's 1 dietary services director and 1 clinical dietitian for the facility that houses 470 people. And they say that's not adequate.
People have been completely skipped over, or like they didn't get them maybe like the one, and that's something we've seen in more than just the case that's highlighted here, that he was so sedated that I think he was not, like he'd be sleeping a lot and was often not brought to the meal.
The group says the report was a last resort after what they call a lack of response from the Development Center and Arkansas DHS. Now, DHS told our sister station in Little Rock the report is a, quote, distorted attempt to discredit the Human Development Centers. The Dardanelle Lock and Dam has been closed for 12 days now, coming after a boat ran into a gate, forcing the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to shut it down for repairs. No boats have come through to make deliveries, which USACE says could have negative economic impacts if it's not fixed soon, but they say they're optimistic as welders work to put the final protective bumpers back on.
A lot of grit, a lot of determination, team members who are dedicated to make sure that we win as an organization and for the state of Arkansas. We will open up the lock itself, and that way that economy and that traffic and the barge traffic will pick back up again.
As boats wait to come through, the Army Corps says it hopes to have the gate back open later this week. A little more than a year after it was destroyed by a fire, we're getting our first look at what the Bricktown Brewery in downtown Fort Smith will look like when it's rebuilt. In November of last year, the restaurant caught on fire, heavily damaging the old Adelaide Hall. The building was later demolished, and now Griffin Property says it's going to build a new 2-story building to resemble the old Adelaide Hall. The downstairs will be a Bricktown Brewery restaurant and bar. The upstairs will be an event space. Construction will start immediately, and it will take about a year. We're taking a closer look at the contract of the U of A's new head coach, Ryan Silverfield. Football fans across the state hope this big investment finally pays off after years of costly coaching losses. Silverfield is set to make $33.5 million over 5 years, with nearly $7 million each season. Since 2018, Arkansas has spent $13 million on games they won, but almost $20 million on games they lost. Fans are hoping Silverfield can turn that spending into real results on the field.
Could probably help build a new parking garage with that.
Oh
new
my
floor.
gosh,
yeah,
yes,
parking.
new parking.
Parking's a
That'd
little
be good.
annoying.
I mean, that's just got to change, and hopefully that starts with Silverfield. Like, I don't know, your check's got to just find the right guy. So.
Wow. Well, we will be airing that press conference live tomorrow at 1 p.m. on our 5 News Plus streaming app, and you can watch that for free. Well, the first court hearing for the man accused of killing a National Guard soldier and wounding another near the White House revealed new details about last week's attack. Court documents include surveillance images showing the suspect near a busy D.C. metro station before turning a corner and opening fire on members of the National Guard. 20-year-old specialist Sarah Beckstrom was struck and later died, while 24-year-old Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf remains hospitalized. The suspect was shot by an uninjured guardsman and is also hospitalized.
This individual was brought into this country as a result of the largesse of the American people and the American government, and he betrayed us.
Becht pleaded not guilty to murder, assault, and firearms charges. His next court appearance is scheduled for January 14th. The White House is distancing itself from the decision to conduct a second strike on a suspected drug boat, killing the 2 survivors from the first strike. But at the same time, the President and Secretary of Defense are defending the decision and warn of possible escalation in Venezuela. All of this came during a more than 2-hour cabinet meeting Tuesday. Olivia Rinaldi has more details from the White House.
Question about the second strike. I didn't know about the second strike. I didn't know anything about people. I wasn't involved in it.
President Trump and his defense secretary Pete Hegseth distanced themselves from a second strike on an alleged drug boat that targeted survivors from the first strike.
So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do, and by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat.
Congress is promising an investigation into the September attack on the alleged Venezuelan drug boat. Congressman Ted Lieu, a former Air Force lawyer, was blunt in his rebuke of the decision.
Killing shipwreck survivors is a war crime.
But Senator Eric Schmidt, the former Attorney General from Missouri, was equally candid.
This nonsense about it being a war crime is total.
President Trump says he supports the strikes on the boats and potentially more.
I want those boats taken out, and if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea.
President Trump hit several other topics during Tuesday's cabinet meeting, also vowing to deport immigrants from the African country of Somalia.
Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks. And we don't want them in our country.
He also railed against an issue Democrats have put front and center.
The word affordability is a con job.
And he talked about his health.
I took my physical. I got all A's, everything.
But there were times during the more than 2-hour meeting where the 79-year-old president appeared to struggle to stay awake. Olivia Rinaldi, CBS News, the White House.
Well, it's a wonderful time of year, but police are urging extra caution this holiday season. Fayetteville officers are warning about porch pirates, especially with Black Friday and Cyber Monday deliveries piling up. They recommend security cameras, motion detecting lights, requiring signatures, and keeping valuables off your porch. You can also ask a trusted neighbor to grab packages if you're away. The department says it takes these thefts seriously and urges residents to stay vigilant.
When we respond to a call where it's a porch piracy or someone stole something off of the porch, what we usually do is we canvass the area for cameras, and then if we get any photos of those individuals, we sometimes put them out on our Facebook. And if we get a license plate, we'll run that tag to confirm who the registered owner is. We catch quite a bit of them.
If you believe you're a victim of theft, police say you can call and make a report. The annual Christmas Honors event returns to Fort Smith this weekend to honor servicemen and women. Families and volunteers will place wreaths on thousands of headstones at the Fort Smith National Cemetery on Saturday. Ahead of the event, organizers are asking for volunteers to assemble wreaths on Friday. You can help from 8 to 1 at the Fort Smith Convention Center. And Chief Meteorologist Scott Covert and 5 News are helping spread warmth through our A Coat for Christmas drive. It benefits the Salvation Army of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. You can find drop-off sites at Mathis Brothers Sleep Store in Fort Smith, Lazy Boy in Springdale, and Ashley Furniture Stores in both Fort Smith and in Rogers. And 'tis the season for our holiday turkey and ham giveaway. Starting Monday, we're giving 5 winners a turkey and ham for their holiday feast. We'll be announcing the winners on your 5 News at 6 p.m. Monday through Friday through December 12th. All you have to do if you want to enter is text the word holiday to that number there on your screen, 479-785-5000.